I was trying to get the money my peers had. I was trying to get the life my peers had. I was trying to keep up. I would take time off and I'd still be working because of the anxiety of just yo imali iyayehla, in. You know what I'm saying? So money was just this big, like overarching thing.
This is the Hustler's Corner.
Welcome to Virtual Mkuku, which happens every Monday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on the Hustler's Corner podcast. It's another beautiful day. Sibonga u. Sibonga Tiko. All right, the first thing I'm going to ask, guys, is for you to subscribe to 3 different platforms. The first platform is this one. Click the subscription button. Click. The second platform you need to go and subscribe at is Virtual Mkuku. From the first week of 2023, we are moving this podcast from this platform to its own platform, which is Virtual Mkuku. So go to Virtual Mkuku on YouTube right now. Go subscribe. I know you're not going to find a lot of content, but we want you guys to keep subscribing so that when we move to that platform, at least we should be having how many subscribers, Benyo?
I think we could potentially do 50,000 at least.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think we can do 50,000.
50,000.
If there's one thing I'm jealous about with this guy, is twins. Twins.
Ngizokutshela i-formula. No, it's called makeup sex with a No, I'm just mean that day.
Oh, okay. And then you just got
It's
it
a
right.
joke. It's a joke.
You just got it right that day.
It's a joke. I took your shades.
No problem.
You look like
no
you didn't
problem.
need them.
Good to see you, Joe. The first time I heard of you, I was still at YFM. And the reason I'm saying that I understand what
I was about to say the first time I heard of you, you were still at YFM too.
good to see you, bro. It's
been a while, bro. It's been a while, brother. Hey, P, I've been hanging out with you all day. I forgot to do the camera hi.
Nah, no stress.
The camera hello.
Really, really happy to have you here. Really excited to hear what you have in store for us. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Maybe let's start with the current projects. What are you busy with?
Well, I've been messing around with piano, and that's
And congrats
that's
and
really,
big up for doing that.
Thank you.
I'll tell
Thank
you why I say so.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing for me. I think this album that I've been working on, these singles, this new single with Buhle and Stoki, After Tears, please go get it. That's been consuming me. But I think this whole journey, this whole Sizo Alakain journey is really just what's been on my lap. Trying to find the different ways or execute the plan I have in my head, at least the vision. How I see it in my head is really what's been consuming me. That's the most important one. I mean, there's the acting stuff that I'm doing. There's some business things I'm doing. There's some media stuff that I'm doing. But like this one is like the biggest portion for me.
Yeah, the other day I was interviewing Ukonet Mamabolo, and he's doing really well in the financial services sector as an entrepreneur. Making a lot of money, company growing, doing very well. But he tells me he's missing acting. He did really well on Skim Sam, but before Skim Sam, he was also like a theater actor. Then he says he's been away from acting, focusing on business, but that's what happened in my life also. You focus on business, your artistic side sort of starts suffering, right? And that's one of the things about being long in the game, where that will happen somehow.
Yeah.
But what will keep you busy at some point when that's not doing well, then you get to do other things, and it's just a roller coaster of punches, great times, challenges, solving problems, this entertainment thing. So you've been in it for quite some time.
Yeah.
And with the example that I've just made, Manjiaga Konet Mama Bolo, he speaks about focusing in business, artistic side suffers. What about you?
I think I wouldn't mind to. I wouldn't mind getting to a place where I think I want it to be a choice. I want to get to a place where I've done my run as a musician and I've enjoyed it, and I've taken a step back and I can actually go into music because, in my family, business is actually a calling. I'm like the wild card in my whole entire family. My bloodline is a bloodline of politicians and business people. So at some point, I actually do want to like take a step back and go fully into it. I've done it before as well. There was a time when I was not enjoying music. I wasn't enjoying making music. I wasn't enjoying listening to music. I wasn't enjoying the experience of being a musician. I wasn't doing well as an artist. You know what I mean? I just wasn't performing. I just lost touch out of it. And that's when I started doing a lot of work with Slicker, started doing a lot of work in like going back into my advertising space. So I've been there, and then the second I got an opportunity and I got a little window to get back in, that's exactly what I did, you know. But I don't think it should be that much of a problem, you know. I look up to guys like Jay-Z who, to me, I feel like have always taught us that actually you become a musician so that one day you can become a great businessman. You know, all this clout, all this fame, all this attention, all this little bit of money that you get is all supposed to just take you to the next level of your life. But you continue to just make music and to do your poetry like the best way that you can for fun. You know, like I think Jay-Z verses today are not pressured with going platinum. He's not pressured with selling. He's not pressured with having a world tour. He just wants to be on a Kanye West song, so he does a Kanye West verse. He wants to be on an album with Jay Electronica, so he'll do that. If he wants to go on tour with his wife, he does that, you know, but his influence is stretched into other things. He's getting people out of jail, you know, he's working for big clothing brands, and you know what I'm saying? So I think where the problem is when you don't foresee it and you don't plan it that way.
Bamba offside.
Mase kubamba offside kula uzokhala uyi-one uhleli lapha unemali eningi mara awukwazi ukuyenza lento ofuna ukuyenza, you know. I think, you know, we never anticipated to be like that. So, like I said to him, I probably hope I'll never have to, you know. I think even if I do go into corporate, or if I go into business, I'll probably be in the music scene, like somewhere in the back, you know. Tell Conrad to go help some kids learn how to act, man, and stop crying about and go chow his money. Just chow your money and teach kids how to act.
Jay-Z talks about a window period where you come in, you're young, you're hot, you hit and happening, but he talks about the real test of the entertainment industry is being able to stretch that window for as long as possible. But then what he says is the key is not on being hot.
Sure.
The key is what do you do with the hotness that you acquire from this period? Because the rest of your life is way longer than just this short period. Because this period might just be 5 years.
Sure.
If you're lucky, it might be 10 years.
If you're lucky.
If you're very lucky.
If you're lucky. And the reality of it is if you're sitting there thinking it's gonna happen forever, you're gonna suffer.
Yeah, I
ayikhi forever. Akekho umuntu oba superstar forever. Ayenzi sense le nto.
Ngihlale ngisho kanjalo ama-gents ngigents even nale nyuka sihlale sithole ama-show siyakhohlwa angithona sojwayela ukuthi next week kuzenye
next week kuzenye
at some point it starts drying up. Amen.
I remember Tyler Perry might have been with Taraji Henson. They were speaking about a 7-year when you're hot. That's 7 years of what do you do during that 7 years? How do you budget financially? And we've spoken about money as well. And I think my question for Sis was going to be around COVID. Speaking about money, because it's not just entertainment, it's sports stars. And for some people now, it's even looking like just general employment. Sometimes your job is not going to be around forever. So what decisions are you making now so that you use this current heat so that you're still fine afterwards? So my question to Sis is, how did COVID affect you personally? How did it affect other people you know in the industry, and what are the lessons? It was a lockdown, of course, but a lesson for when you're not hot, because you can have a lockdown in your own personal life.
Yeah. I always tell people this. Funny enough, COVID saved me, I think. Right?
Too much. Saved you from
actually
what?
True, even that.
Okay.
Even that. I think it saved me, man, because there's two aspects of it. On the one side, coming into the game, I was always I always did more than one thing, right? So if you ask around, you'll find there's a lot of album covers I designed that people don't know I designed covers. I designed artworks. There's a lot of flyers I did behind the scenes. There's a lot of parties, a lot of launches that I did behind the scenes. So I was never ever doing one thing from the get-go. You know, I came from advertising. I came from a world where creativity is literally a celebration. You know, they want the person that can design, that can conceptualize, that can execute and copyright, you know. So I always came from a world where I did not do no single one thing, right? So when COVID happened, I had to rely on the other things that were moving, which was advertising and media, and products were still being sold, you know, and content still had to be created. So I kind of lashed onto that. It wasn't a lot of money. It was probably like very, very small to what I needed at the time. But where it saved me was it kind of then got me that reassurance of saying, oh, this whole time I've been doing more than one thing. I'm not crazy, you know, because I thought maybe I was shorting myself with the music because I'm distracting myself with all these other 5 things that I'm doing. Like maybe I would have been a bigger artist if I didn't have 4 other things on my plate. Yeah, I wanna. But then I look at all the guys that were popping and all the guys that only had one thing on their plates, and I was like, damn, thank God for that. So I never did not one thing, right?
I love education. There's a sister who just walked past me in Purampura graduation. That is so inspiring. Congratulations. Congratulations. Nkulunkulu mkhulu, sanibongela. Beautiful, man. Guys, for those who don't understand, for us, the black community to graduate is a big thing. The Lily Zelling, they're in that room. Sorry, it's disturbed you.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, education saved my ass. I studied advertising. I could do some Photoshop. I could design, so I could keep moving, right? So on the one side, it kind of saved me because it made me feel like, okay, I'm glad I know all these skill sets, and I'm glad I can apply myself, because post-COVID, that's really the reality of life. It's like if you do one thing, we are poor. You can't do one thing. You can't just sell more fire. You have to sell more fire, be the podcast, be the radio station, drop the music. You know what I mean? Like what does Uncle Vinny do? You know, he does everything. What does Robot Boy do? What does Robot Boy not do? You understand? This is the world that we are in now. So, fine, great. It saved me because it made me realize I was in there. But on the other side, I was running and chasing things that I had no business chasing. You know, I was trying to get the money my peers had. I was trying to get the life my peers had. I was trying to keep up. I would take time off and I'd still be working because of the anxiety of just imali in. You know what I'm saying? So money was just this big, like, overarching thing, you know. And you know what they say, the more you chase something, the more it runs away from you, right? And the second that thing hit, I spent 2 weeks uninterrupted with my kids.
Ah, man.
You know, for the first time ever.
And congratulations with
You know
the
what I'm
twins,
saying?
man.
Yeah.
Congrats, brother.
And my older kids as well, right? So I've got older ones, but like it's just like I actually got to get stopped, you know, from my own illusion of what success is, or my own illusion of what failure is, and just look around and be like, damn, man, I got a beautiful life, you know. There's a friend of mine, Instro would always say this thing, and I never understood it until that thing happened.
Miss you, bro. Nothing but love. All the best with the Bible school. Sure.
Mpana, that guy used to call me even before COVID and say, yo, how you doing? I said, I'm good, you know, just could do with some dough. None problems are chalete. Not the problem. You know? Kind of like, dog, you're not suicidal, right? You're not mentally, you know, your mental health is still intact, right? You're still fine. You're still breathing. You're not thinking crazy things, right? You're not trying to do anything out of the ordinary. Are you fine? Okay, I know. I trust you. You figure yourself out. You know, 5 years later, I figured myself out. I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? I found peace in it. I found a lot of things that I needed to discover in it. You know. And I discovered piano as well, you know, because at that time, I don't want to lie, dog, hip-hop songs did not make sense to me. A song talking about the club when I'm in the house, or a guy talking about money when there's no money, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like it just doesn't make sense, you know, people are mumbling. And then there was also the feeling of songs that were talking about COVID just making me feel more depressed. Yo, this guy is talking about what's happening outside. I don't want to talk about what's happening outside, you know what I mean? So as Solo would put it, Solo had this theory, this genre couldn't have ever blown up any other time other than in that moment, because this one just made you forget. It made you forget about what you were dealing with, and it made you want to celebrate and listen to music and dance and look forward to going out, you know, and look forward for when this period is over, you know, because something so to you understand? So you're like, I'm looking forward to that moment. I'm looking forward to that time. So I was falling out of love with hip hop. I wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't vibing with it. But then I was listening to Angelic, you know, saying Nanatula, you know. I was listening to Shasha, you know. I was getting into this thing like, yo, dating him nandicho, like ngifuna ukuyenza, but I just don't know ukuthi ngizongena kanjani. That was my lockdown, you know. The building up the bravery to admit to myself that I was falling out of love with my life, my previous life as I knew it, you know, this life that I had as reason with this girl and these kids and this career and writing songs for these people, and I was getting over that, and I was looking forward to like, yeah, but like let's talk about Sizwe. You know, I think there's more. It's deeper. You know, some people back you know, that's weird for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, did I speak that much English?
And not just, and not just.
Was it that American accent? Was it that Americanized that you really forgot? I grew up as Ekasi.
And then not just Elinyi Logish. But
Tembisa Katlehong, it's thread. Oh my gosh.
There were times when the tribal wars, ANC, Inkatha
versus
IFB, forces, those days.
Sure.
His hood.
Just bad.
Yeah, it was really
No, that's
bad.
where it was bad. That's where
in
that
the
thing.
whole of Gauteng,
That's where
bad.
it was really bad.
Hostels there, a lot of people lost their lives there.
Sure.
So when you ask people from Katlehong, especially those ones who are a little bit older, who might have been kids at the time at which that was happening, the political violence,
Sure.
how did it shape them? How did it shape you?
It's so crazy. We were literally talking about it yesterday. My friend Utejo was talking about, I don't know if this is true or not, but he was just talking about how apparently the RDP system was actually supposed to actually start in Katlehong and Thokoza, because the redistribution of people who were misplaced in that war was starting there. So Mandela came up with that theory to redistribute there. And then when they saw it working there, they started doing throughout the whole country. But like, yeah, like it's had a lot of influence because I was raised by a political mind. You know, my stepdad was very political. He went to serve some time in Robben Island. I'm talking about somebody who was entrenched in that fight, somebody who was a part of that fight. Wasn't a part of that war, but he's very, very close to that story, you know. And I think how it kind of shaped my hood and how it kind of shaped all the people and everything else that we know. If you really think about it, artists from the East Rand are different. You know, if you look at a Questa, for example, or you listen to a Kid X, if you listen to like a Young Stunner, there's a certain appreciation for words and what they mean and stories and storytelling, you know. And I think it's because the people that raised us were very passionate about telling the stories and continuing the story of, dog, you are living a life that doesn't have a war. So why should I appreciate that? Well, you should appreciate that because back in 1994, this would, you understand what I'm saying? That conversation is continuous, you know? So I always look at the brews that come from the East End and I'm always like, man, we are always different. We'll always be different and special. Konal Ntwani too short. I don't know if you've heard it. Can't believe it. We are different. We are more, I don't want to say cultural but like there's a root to it, you know. But for me personally, how it came to me directly is that I was raised by a person who was involved in the struggle. So somebody who served time for it, you know, somebody who also suffered from being a part of it, you know. So it's different. Like I was raised by a person who didn't want me to read the school books but wanted me to read the newspaper, you know. So I had to read the newspaper and then come back and feedback with what did I read about every day, you know. So I got addicted to buying newspapers. Even now, if you're in a relationship with me, you know, every Sunday, daily newspaper. That's, you know, it's me, the newspaper. I read about it, you know, read some stuff, and then I move on. It actually killed my excitement for books. You know, I was never good at reading books. I'm still not good at reading books, but I'll read a newspaper. I'll read the news. I'll watch a discography. Even when it comes to watching movies, I don't want to watch the fake ones. I want to watch the based on a true story one, you know?
Rest in peace to Mama Afeni Shakur, but I hear that's how Tupac was brought up.
Yeah,
Consume
information
and education.
Yeah.
about where
That's
you are.
how you would be punished also. You didn't do your homework? Okay, punishment. Read this newspaper from beginning to end.
Jeez.
And then at the end, question you about what you read.
Sure.
What was it? Page 7, page 8 type of thing. I guess that's why Park came as that type of a rapper with that type of mindset at that early age. Same as him. When he came into the game, he was those type of rappers. And I'm going to ask that question later about the evolution of Sizwe.
I want to send a shout out to his stepfather. I want to send a shout out to your stepfather and to all the stepfathers out there, specifically the virtual squatters who were raised by stepfathers who are stepfathers themselves.
Yeah.
We got so much negative press as Amachita, of course, and a lot of good men out there are raising kids that they didn't birth. out of love, inspiring, educating them. Firstly, I'd like to say what I took from you with the COVID story was, number one, it gave you time to meditate and introspect and have gratitude for what you have. And number two, it highlighted the importance of multiple streams of income, especially people in entertainment, because you won't be hot forever. So I think that was very important for me. Just taking it a step back, you spoke about the Jay-Z influence, that you must always be going for something else. I'm worried about selling out.
What is selling out?
Yeah. I'm worried
Define
about
selling out.
I'm worried about selling. I'm not saying
Maybe I
you sold out.
misunderstand what selling out is. No. I'm not saying you are saying
Sure.
it. I just get confused every time this conversation sometimes comes up because I'm like, what is selling out? Maybe I don't know.
So my concern, I mean, I've got mixed feelings about Jigga. Love Jigga. I'm inspired by Jigga. I know Smooth loves Jigga. But it feels like at some point the chase became about money. And it feels like music, and in particular hip hop, became a stepping stone just to the money. Because we know hip hop as an institution.
Right.
If you were a rapper and you're speaking about the fact that you were reading newspapers, it was to educate.
Right.
And now you're speaking about escaping.
Right.
Who's going to educate us now if you now speak about escaping? Who's
Right.
going to educate us now if Jay-Z now is no longer dropping education and is about this money thing? Because we see it a lot in politics. Guys are using political parties not because they're trying to serve the people, but because they're actually trying to get to the money thing. So the concern is in the evolution, which I think Usbu wants to speak to. Is your evolution not a form of selling out where you are part of an educational institution and people are listening to reason? And now it looks like this guy now is like, I want to make money and I want to escape.
Maybe Jay-Z was a bad example. Because Uchiga ufake enkingeni, Joe. Uchiga is for me, first of all, by the way, just to set the record straight, my appreciation for Jigga is literally my appreciation for Jigga. I'm not a Jay-Z fan. I was a Nas fan actually. Right? So if you had to make me choose, in terms of rappers, but I have an appreciation for Jigga as a black leader, right? And as a human, man, because I think first of all, the first thing about Jay-Z is Jay-Z's always been about the money. Jay-Z's never been half-hearted about the fact that we all gotta get money. Sure. I mean, guys, that's why he sold
From
drugs.
day one,
He was trying to get money.
Sure.
But you could sense you could also sense in the content. No, this guy is very smart.
And you can see it with the play. You could see this guy was on the streets. He was slanging this dope, but I think even there he was kind of different in how he was doing it, right? And I think typically of a great opportunist, he saw music and he was like, yo, I can make money. I can make more money, right? And from this money, I can even have more influence. Sure. And I can clean up all this dirt that I'm, attached to, right? And then from there, I can even jump from that and get more money. Like, I think he was always about, how do I get more bags? Because even now, you can't deny in front of every Jay-Z verse, in front of this guy tells you how it is.
Sure.
In every stage of his life.
Sure.
In when he was pimping and balling and he just didn't give a fuck and he was just doing his own thing, he was still showing you, dog. He would give you theories on how to sell drugs. Sure. It's all in the songs, right? Sure. Then you'd find the reform Jay-Z, the one that was starting to, when you go into the music, dog, he's telling you how to get the money, If he's been giving us game. This guy's game and his knowledge and his education, I think, has always been get the money, right? So that's why I say I think Jay-Z was a bad example. I think if you bring up somebody like, I don't know, Nas, then we have a bit of a conversation because
Nas now is also about the money.
He's about
now he's about the money.
He's doing super well, right? But I think then that I have a cry. Because I think I fell victim of the conversation on the other side, where I feel like there was this thing at some point where they said, if you are talented and you're really good at what you do, don't worry, you'll make money. Yes. And that's a lie, dog. No, dog. I think that's a lie. And it's so unfortunate because money is the root of this conversation, right? But if we have to be honest about the money, Instro again used to say, they should have told us, Guti, there's 6 elements to hip hop, man. The 6th one is get that money.
Boom.
Yeah, abanga still dance, knowledge of self, DJing, what. Hey, me get that money. Mfana, huyu umuntu angivusile kahle. No, utumi huyu umuntu angivusile. Mfethu utumi wangilanda lapha nangipekpeka taya. Son. Ntuthe yetsa ngotlo lapho, tlo tshwara ke tlala, jo. Tlo tshwara ke tlala, jo,
Sure.
Like, dog, getting money is so crucial. Nas himself was going through a bad period in his life because he was just so into this talent and whatever, until he landed in Silicon Valley. Then somebody said, dog, lento le yenzayo uzokhawateka, jo. Thatha le mali yakho ifake la, urelaxe, uzarapha mawufuna. You'll do that thing whenever you want to. So essentially, I think, as hip hop, I think making money is a very big part of it. That's why we still have Migos. The story continues. That thing evolves so many different times. But even Rakim and Eric B were out there with the change about that money. They're about that dough, So I don't know what selling out is in music, other than if you point out an artist that said, hey guys, I'm going to stop making good music and I'm going to start making shit music
just to make money.
Just to make money.
So
That's when you are having a conversation with me about selling out, because other guys, I'm just like, that guy wasn't selling out. He was doing exactly what he told you he was going to do. Jay-Z's doing exactly what he told you he was going to do. Nas is doing what he's not doing what he said he was doing because he was not making money. Now he's doing what he said he was going to do,
Or 50 Cent were always about money.
Bafo. Yabona hip hop mfana ine toxicity esingayikhulumi mfana. Yabona kuningi toxicity ye hip hop engayi understand mfana. Yeah, that's why ngimi engage angiyazi ukuthi umrapper naye. Khona le toxicity ye hip hop mfana bengaffect mina sometimes mangimamela ngithi man lento le man inoglorify poverty kakhulu and mina ngihetha ka blind and because ngisa Africa. Angikho nase New York angidili nangeDollar. Ngidila ngerandi jo. I-oppressor yami ona yonke into engiyifunayo. You understand? But now I'm in this world where I'm like, man, why would KRS fight guys who were making money? Sure. Why did we have such animosity towards guys who just wanted to make money? Like, if you just wanted to be a poet and be a beautiful, amazing writer, that's why I loved Mos Def. Yeah. I felt like Mos Def wasn't really about any of those stuff because he was also making money from being an actor. Sure. Yeah. And he was doing well. Abu Common, they were doing well, but they were just shitting on you because you whack. Sure. That's why he was willing to have beef with Drake. He didn't care how much money Drake had. He didn't care how big he was, but he was willing to say, bro, let's go toe for toe. I'll show you. You whack, and I'm dope.
I wanted to ask, because now we're speaking about underground rappers who are promoting poverty, because they were. And a lot of our politicians on the come up also promote a form of poverty.
Oh yes,
and then
that's
on the
where
other
we started the
side,
chat. You brought up the politicians. I know, but politicians are a different story, dog. Politicians are not musicians, dog. Sorry, no. I forgot. But I'll come back to you.
I'm saying
story.
So you've got the politicians who almost glorify poverty, that to serve. I mean, we speak about Oshay Guevara who refused to earn nice salary. Thomas Sankara who refused to get nice Mercedes Benzes and those things. And then on the other side, you've got the politicians who came in and they only focusing now on the money. And I guess my question to you is, it sounds like Maukhulu, you're evolving away from hip hop. You want to make good music, of course. Maybe Amapiano. And my question is, who in South Africa is going to take this education, this institution? Because a lot of us were educated by hip hop and then evolve that to say, look, we've got a new brand of hip hop. If you are not going to be one of those people, we've got a new brand of hip hop where we're still schooling you, but now we're not saying poverty and what. We're also saying, as much as we're still educating, but you can also go and get resources and build.
I don't know, where are the guys that were listening to Reason all these years? I think that's not my responsibility anymore, dog.
Why not?
Why I say that is because so there's this big world called Amapiano. It's a planet, and from every song you can imagine what everybody's lifestyle is like, right? And then there's this Sisu guy who just brought up this thought. Oh yeah, there's an after tears. You understand? Or if you go listen to Kanda Shisa is about hot heads. If you're from the hood, a bunch of hot heads, criminals, you know what I mean? When you go in my album, I'm talking about having friends that are gangsters. I'm talking about losing loved ones. I'm talking about a guy who's begging for love back. I'm talking about abantu abaloyayo. I'm talking about so many different things that I know. So unfortunately, it may seem as if, or fortunately, it may seem as if, yeah, you've kind of deviated from the education via hip hop, but I can't help but move with it, you know. So even in this sound, I think there's still some sort of education that I'm parting, right? Because at the same time, I think it shouldn't be foreign for you to chase wealth and still not feed people good information. You know, I'd like to think that's what we're all doing here, right? Because I think, just like Jay-Z, I want to be a successful black man with a solid family, and still share information with my people, right? And honestly, I picked up the baton from T. You know, I picked up the baton from T. I picked up the baton from Zabs. I picked up the baton from Proverb. I picked up the baton from Optical Illusion. I picked up the baton from Miss Ntabi. I picked up the baton from so many great rappers who were about that education, right? And I found ways over the years to still entrench that education and that conversation. Let me not say education. Let me say real life conversation, right? And put them in the music for so many years until it got to a point where it wasn't cool for me to give that education information, you know? Which is the other reality, is at some point, people just don't want to hear that. Either from you or from that genre or in that way. They just don't want to hear it, right? So you can continue making it. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of rappers out there who are trying to tell people how to live and advise them and show them, but nobody's really interested. People just want to listen to something else. Abasafuni.
Sure. Babe ngasayifuni.
Bebangasayifuni,
But
yeah.
I'll tell you, hip-hop
Right?
itself was also a season. Because it's not like the world was born with hip-hop. Hip-hop came from drums and from poetry and from what. So evolution is meant to be a natural thing.
Yeah, so maybe I think there should be a conversation around how we've all tried to evolve real life conversations that help and better people, you know, which is what I think was what we're doing now, you know. Like 10 years ago, I would have been one of those people who'd be like, yeah, you're right, man. You know what I mean? Like, yo, just be real. Just be dope. You just keep writing those raps, dog. How they gonna deny you when you, nigga? Mfana, you'll find the most average, the wackest rapper in the game. He's killing all of us. Sintoem was talented, but he's doing better than all of you. Why? Just because he's making better decisions. But I come from a world where criticism is a regular thing. So you should be able to self-criticize. You know? It's being able to look at, especially when it's a guy you don't like. A guy you really don't like. You're just like, I hate that guy. Sure. Then that guy does really well. And that guy is worse than you. He's a shittier rapper than you, but he's just doing better than you at everything else, even in selling music, right? You can't help but take a step back and be like, he's good at that. He's really, really good at that. And that was the mistake I was making, right? For a very long time, I was like, if that guy can get that, why can't I? Right? If that guy can do that, why can't I? You know? And then you'll meet people like Abu Kabelo who make you understand and appreciate. Timfana, your journey is your journey. Yeah. You know? You're doing things that nobody else can. Don't be looking at what Sboo's doing. Because Sboo, you don't know what he went through to get to this table. You know what I mean? When ukhalela ukuphila le life yakhe, ubheka uphenywele uthi phenywela ufake quicksilver ayiparile. Kanti awazi. You know what I mean? But sonke sinemali mara sazi ukuthi ke abani eningi. You know, kusafana nenkinga, sonke sinenkinga sazi ukuthi zakabani eningi. Sonke sinothanda sazi ukuthi ubani unothando oluningi. So yekela impilo yabanye abantu. You actually have to just shut off and go back to your God and stick to your God and focus on him and say, dog, which way am I going? You know, which way is the right way for me? Run your own race. Yes, but you must be able to appreciate, even if you don't like that guy, appreciate the fact that, yo, that's another black man doing some great stuff.
And there's lots to learn from him.
Yes, let me figure it out. You know, I'm supposed to be looking at a guy I don't like and saying, dog, what's that guy doing over there? Yes. Not because I want to mirror it or I want to have it. Just be like, damn, yo, that guy's dope.
I want to learn. He's got a skill clearly that he's good at.
And just appreciate it and move on, you know? Because at some point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to do something and he's going to be like, how the hell did that guy? You know?
Jay-Z, Common, Dr. Dre, Snoop, They're doing this thing and they're evolving with it, and their subject matter just keeps on evolving. So much so that I'm a 43 years old tomorrow, by the way.
Hey,
You can say happy birthday. Thank you. Thank you, Nyabonga.
Yeah.
Mkhulu.
Hey, uNkulunkulu uyabonakala man. Hey, mkhulu.
But they still make me listen to hip hop till today.
yeah.
In South Africa, do you think there is that space for rappers to grow to their... Jay-Z is like 50 plus now.
He's old.
To be about around that age and still be dropping music. I know Skido is doing it, but Skido is different because he's not a rapper. Still doing his thing, still inspiring us.
Maybe the question should be: do you think we'll get to that age and still make music? Because when you box it into, will you still have hip hop or will you still have raps?
Yeah. No, music you'll still make. I mean, Abu Prahu, Abu Prare,
Yeah.
60 something,
And they were still- yeah, they were still making
70
music,
something,
yeah.
Asakula, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we will, man. I think we will because you know, Kabza has this theory with the dog. You can't say you can't debate ukuthi sangoma loqeda nini ukuba isangoma. Like sangoma is not thinking, yo, I'm gonna retire at 50 with this sangoma thing, right?
Yeah, it's a gift.
And he
So
would
they
have
to
that
heal
theory
people
because
with
he
it.
believes that what we do is healing people.
It's a
To
calling.
him-
It is.
To him,
It
what
is
we're
a
doing
calling.
is
It
a
is healing.
calling. It's a spiritual calling.
Education as well.
Yeah, but it is though.
It is though.
Right? So I don't think I'm surrounded by people who are like that. But at the same time, I don't know what other artists are dealing with, you know? I said to him, I don't know how long I'm going to keep making music, but I know at some point I'm going to take a step back and help people produce, you know? Definitely not going to do the label thing, but I'm definitely going to produce.
Oh, I'm glad you raised that because I want to ask about it.
No, I don't want this guy's problems. Nah.
What is that?
Starting a label.
Oh,
I said, I'll never start a label when I look at what you guys are going through now.
Shout out
Never.
to Amakrod Manapeshe, about P. Diddy, Master P. You mentioned about Dr. Dre, guys that have been in the game for long. And I
Yeah.
think what they got right is they had talent, of course, and then they managed to commercialize it, which is why they can last for long. And I think part of the pain is when you just have talent and you can't commercialize it. So you end up feeling hurt and traumatized. I posted a comment. I don't want to speak on this. I posted a comment because Proverb posted something on Facebook and I was congratulating him and saying, can't wait till you make music again. We miss you. And his response to that was not nice. It was like, no, man, I've moved on. I'm doing something else. I was like, no, dog, I'm actually saying we just miss you because Kumbula from the music. And he was like, no, the music is done. And I was just like, I don't know where that was coming from, but I was just reminded, Konabantu, that I'm miserable because Bafia and Italiente couldn't merge it with the money. And that's why they jump out quick. And part of what Usizo and I were discussing was record labels. And I said I was going to ask you on camera,
Yeah.
what are we missing outside? Because you think everyone wants to own a record label. Reason's been in the game for a while, so why is he not setting up his own? Or Kanye had about good music. Jay-Z had his own record label as well, which had artists. And then
Big Show.
we have few. So
Genyi,
what are we
bro.
missing in record labels? Because is it a lack of education around the music business? Do record labels not have money? I made a video and people said in Tunyo away and what. It's an article I wrote a couple of years ago speaking about when you gamble in a record label, you put money for like 10 artists and maybe only 1 or 2 will pop. But you have to cover all these other expenses. What are we missing? Why do record labels not last long? Why do people close them? Because I'd assume if you have a cash cow, TS Records, you'd never stop. But was it not a cash cow? Why Mabala noisy whoopee? What are we not understanding?
Very good question.
Yeah.
It's an extremely good question and it doesn't have a straight up answer. But a record label is complicated. You can turn yourself as a Casper Nyovest with clout, with one hit song,
Another good example.
or with great opportunities. You can turn that clout into
Family tree.
helping. Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You get into helping somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, and it becomes a family tree, becomes a TS Records, becomes a Mabala Noise, becomes a 999, a Kalawa. But then again, you are a Casper Nyovest, you are a Reason, you are a Kabza the Small. You are talent. You don't have the skills of running a business.
Jeez.
That's why a lot of the times, because you are the talent, you've got your career to focus on, we partner. You either partner with somebody who brings that structure or those resources, which is you signing onto a bigger label. Then you get your own imprint where you do an agreement. Your own imprint is your own label, partnering with a bigger label.
Sure.
But still, within your own label, you still have to have a structure. This is a business on how it's run.
Sure.
And a structure means kwenziwa kanje, kwenziwa kanje, kwenziwa kanje, kwenziwa kanje ukuze kube nomphumela oso.
Sure.
And daily nasifika ekuseni this what basically it's supposed to be set up as a business. And you're supposed
to my props.
Ay.
Sorry, carry on.
I-prop lento le.
Akayiphuza le lona.
Uphiza uphuza my props.
No.
Bafundele eyes.
Sorry.
Ngithathe energy drink yakhe ngayenza i-prop.
Mfana
Right break ngiyambona unyanyile.
ungam-expose lo muntu lo mfana. Ngiyathula ngibuke nje ngithi la uthi le. Thatha drink yami. Bheka ngiyibuyisela ikhani lakhona ngiliqedile selihleli lapho sekuyi-prop.
You know? And she's a Spanish in the metro, right? Hey, and most of us Ekasi, or we're not educated to run a business, or maybe we've got our friends around who either help you run that business, and then some of us get lucky to find people who are really good in managing,
Sure.
and who are really good in putting together teams and leading those teams, who are
Which
really
is a
good
skill on its own.
in executing strategy. Because for Casper to be great, there has to be a T-Lee.
Yeah.
For Smooth to be great, there had to be a TK.
Sure.
For Jay, there had to be a Damon Dash.
Facts.
For Biggie, there had
For
to be a
Slicker,
Timmy.
there had to be a smack.
Do you know what I mean, bro?
Boom.
And that's how it is. Because, but what do they say? Let the main thing be the main thing.
Yeah.
When you're making that example, it's the same with coffee, Solistic. You can count all of us. But I think it's but most of us are cooler because we're creatives. But if we are not set up good structures to run those businesses and understanding what the music industry, you're not going to have hits forever.
Sure.
You have to find a way of making this thing to become sustainable.
Sure.
At some point, that sustenance might not be coming from the money from the music.
Yeah.
It might be money that comes from elsewhere, but you have to keep on feeding this beast because you don't know when your next hit is also going to come. So I guess because music relies on trends, relies on people out there, relies on the masses, and you know you're not gonna be hot forever. Even when you're a soccer star, you're not gonna be the hottest player forever. But what system did the Mutaung family put together to make sure that even 40 years later, Kaiser Chief is still Kaiser Chief still today?
Sure.
It's the governance, it's the systems inside, it's how that is run behind the scenes, and
also, not
a lot
every
of us
player
are
that
not
leaves Kaiser Chiefs is happy.
Yeah.
Not every player that leaves Kaiser Chiefs is happy with Kaiser Chiefs. That's the reality of just the business. I think that my nature of it is, or my understanding is, you know, you're dealing with personalities and characters, right? Behind a TS Records is a personality and a characters. Personalities and characters. Behind a whoever X artist is a personality and a character that are bound by contracts, that are defining what the terms of whatever your breakup will be. When you guys break up, this is what's going to happen.
Or when you start fighting.
Or when you make money, this is what's going to happen. Or when you lose money, you start fighting. Or this is how it all ends, right? When you go buy a car, they're telling you, good dog, if you don't give us this money, this is what's going to happen. You know? If you give us too much money, this is what's going to happen. There's benefits and there's ups and downs to it, right? And I think every artist and every record label just has that turbulent relationship. Even if you own your own label, it's a business partner that you have to have a fight with over, man, I thought we got 100. No, we got 100, but we had to pay back that flight that you took to Cape Town. He said, but I thought those flights were being... That's just characters and personalities, how you understand the pieces of paper that you understood, right? Man, going back to the main thing, being the main thing, that's why I don't want a label. As an artist myself, having been an artist, I don't want to deal with artists.
You don't want to run that type of business.
No, I don't want to run that
because
business.
it's a business.
I want to make songs with you. I'd rather sit with you
Daniel,
and produce songs. It's hard, Penyo.
It's not an easy thing.
I've been an artist to record labels myself.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Me and you see, if you look at me and Tumi, right? That relationship ended badly, but we were both sitting at the table saying, "Okay, fine. Look, the guys were like, you can go, but like, ish. What about these racks that we spent on you?" I said, "Okay, how much is it?" They said, "This much." I said, "Okay, sharp. I'll send you the money." Okay, sharp. Then we end our relationship. Then 3 years later, they are the ones calling me and say, Dog, we've got your money here. How do you understand? It ended, right? But in that ending, we were very clear. Oh, no, this was my issue. Me and you, T, we cool. Hey, me and Bradley, we got this, we're not seeing eye to eye. I'm not really happy with how he handled that, okay, fine. How do we dissolve this? Let's dissolve this properly. We all move on and then say hamba. Mpana, not everything even ends like that. Because someone else thinks they're supposed to get more. Or someone else feels like they spent more. Or no, dog.
So the agreements.
The agreements with characters, personalities that are tied to a contract. It's like relationships. When we start out and we're having sex every day, okumnandi jo. Siyathandana, siyajola, senzan. This is a sign, ukuthi baby, masihlukana la, you can have half of everything. The way ngokuthanda ngakhona. Take it. Akubonisa amasimo. Yabo. But it's personalities, characters, we're bound by a contract. And then when we're not happy with the personality and the love and whatever, then we have to go back to the contract. Then it hurts even more because now you agreed to things that you weren't even supposed to. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah, and emculweni futhi it happens differently. Emculweni can happen through even before contracts are signed, even though your intention, all of you guys, is to get that sorted.
Sure.
It can happen that tonight we make a hit song.
Sure.
He posted on his social media. By Monday, it's already playing on Metro.
Then we only
By
discuss
next
the business
week, the gigs are already starting.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? And now, as you discuss the business, certain things could have been agreed upon differently if that agreement or that conversation would have happened before the song became a hit.
Sure.
But because it's making noise now somewhere, some other ears probably think maybe this is how it should be.
Sometimes
Sometimes
Savumelana ukuthi angisho wena you only wrote 15% and I wrote 35%. But yeah. Iphumi ngoma boy. Abuya athi no.
Actually, it wasn't 15.
It's 25.
Yeah.
And you 25. It's no, dog. The song's out now. Now we have to
So those are some of the complex things with our business. Sometimes we create a product under environment of just chilling. We could be chilling like this now, and then from there we're like, as in, sure. Bese sekumnandi, where I'm like, I'm gonna get in a it's your record.
Sure.
And then a hit comes out of it.
Sure.
No agreements have been done, no lawyers were contacted. I don't know how, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Or maybe even that song, it's a song that was there, it probably was not even produced by me.
Sure.
Mhlambe ingoma kabanibani kamapholisa ongithumele yona nini.
Sure.
Sengilona sakayagibela,
Shaya.
siba excited siyayiposta, kuba angakakhulumi nomapholisa.
Sure.
So it happens differently.
You know, one of the things I'm taking from what you're saying, which I hope our squatters are going to get, is at the end of the day, a record label is a business like any other business. And businesses have problems. The second thing I'm getting, especially with the example of Kaizer Chiefs or other soccer teams or Orlando Pirates or Babukosa, the problem sometimes is we get emotionally attached to certain personalities. If you're a musician, I have an emotional connection to you. If you're a soccer player, etc. We've got the same problems in normal companies where people are angry. Baspana somewhere and they hate their boss and they hate their employer. Got any contract, and worse, the work that they've done, they don't even earn things like royalties and fancy things. And they left and company. But you weren't a celebrity.
Yes.
You don't have fans out there who are like, hey, company. Because we don't have the financial literacy and we don't understand how companies work. So what I'm getting from you is that this is a business at the end of the day, and businesses have got their problems, and businesses fail.
And you have to stand by the contracts that you've done.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that also comes with its own baggage.
Yeah.
The contractual issues. What did you sign? Were you aware that you were signing it? Did you have a lawyer next to you? Are you aware that this contract binds you?
Don't you think it has a lot to do with? I always have this theory ukuthi sometimes unokukhumbula uma ungenamali ukuthi uba nokolotana.
Yes. That's exactly it.
Yeah, I understand. Right? And I don't mean that in a negative way, especially in this particular conversation. But I think, it's when as artists we find ourselves in painful situations. Because I look at people who were my friends, who were close to me. I'll sometimes look at Makwa, complaining about his experience with the boys, and I'll say, actually, just the reality of it is my nigga is just not in a good place, or any other artist, you know, because for me to go back, I think I probably am not really about it, but then I find myself in a situation where I'm so compromised, and then I start going into like this whirlwind of ideas to say, actually, no man, lo muntu lona man sivumelana ukuthi angigayi 70 mara bekumele ngabe ungigayi 300. You know, because now I'm in that place where I'm just going back to saying, oh, you know, when money came and the guy said, yo, I'm gonna buy you a car, I was happy about it, you know, but now I don't want this bloody car because I have to fix this car.
Sure.
I have to take care of this car. I actually, you know what? I want my money, right? And I think we tend to forget, like sometimes it's really not about the fact that, yo, I've always wanted to have an issue with you, or I've always had an issue with you, but like all it just reminds me that sometimes we find ourselves in positions as artists which we're just in a bad place, you know, and that contract is what comes up, you know, those promises is what comes up, those chats. Now, Avele, when we were happy and we were good, you were making me promises. You were like, yo, I want you to have half of this company one day, you know? And I go back to that chat, I go back to that conversation, but I go back to it and I find myself in a bad place, you know? For me, I think the bigger conversation, you know, I once seeked for advice from Euphonic once, actually. I said, Doug, you know, this was when I wanted to take a step back from music and I wanted to start a label. And he said to me, my brother, you have to prepare yourself for the end. You must know that artist is going to want to leave you. That artist is going to know that they know better than you. That artist is going to think they are more influential than you at some point. So the best thing to do is rather buy into their label. And you be the one that decides to leave when you want to leave. Let it be your own baby, you know? So if Spoo comes to me and he says, yo, I want you to sign me, I'm going to say, no, start your own thing. And then I'll just give you this money and the guys with me owning 50%. But when I want to leave, I want to leave. And then you can stay with this thing. Because if you're responsible for it, you know, then you'll see the transactions and realize, oh, okay, this is how much money I'm losing, this is how much money I'm making. And if I come to you and I say I want to leave, you can look into the accounts and say, okay, this is why this guy wants to leave. You know? And this is why this guy's done. You can't say I stole anything from you. We were running your company. It was yours. You know what I mean? A nigga can't leave out of their own company. They'd rather kick you out. You know, but at some point, an artist is going to call you and say, hey, someone's going to come and whisper and say, dog, it's going to tell him a gig without this guy. You know, it's going to tell him a sync deal without this guy. It's going to see Ngoma without this guy.
And that's what happens also when you're running a label, your own artist can also steal from you.
Of course. Just like people in normal companies.
The agreement says this structure manages you.
Sure.
This structure brings opportunities, does the negotiations on your behalf.
Sure.
But when your artist, together with maybe one of your team members, employees, or road manager, decide on their own to scheme on their own to go start their own thing, and then it fails.
Sure.
But the public knows a different history.
Sure.
Sometimes go by inkinga because isikhathi nasilobele sivaya ama artist anokutshontsha abalo bangaphansi kwelabel.
Sure.
Uhlala phila ne road manager. Naka emagigini uhlala nalo muntu.
Sure.
Le road manager employee ile company.
Sure.
Marama artists, in many cases it has happened ukuthi laba bagcina baba ne agreement bahamba lo emva kwendlebe bayoqala into yabo bayi2 emadala side. Into yabo if iya failure, Leo failure will be attributed to
the
this
structure.
company.
Yeah, I mean, if I have to give this guy 20%, then I have to get that money, and then I have to give you 20%. Man, fuck this label.
And when you don't know, from time to time,
it's 20%. This call plus now they don't even know how many gigs we have this weekend anyway. Right? They don't even care. So cut these guys out. Cut these guys out. Let's go.
Even apart from the bigger steal,
sure,
there's just those little steals that the road manager does with the artist.
Of course.
The office doesn't know about it.
Sure.
And that's what they would do almost every weekend.
Or I call the promoter and say, tell those guys Gucci 40. You pay those guys 40 and send me my 5.
So for me, the advice to every artist out there: get your publishing right. Make sure that you've got a publishing company.
Sure.
And you know what that means, what publishing is, and that publishing company of yours, the banking account, that money goes directly into your account. Number 2, the royalty money.
Sure.
If you're doing a deal, whatever you agree upon, make sure there is a lawyer there, make sure you understand the contracts, and make sure when the deal is done, you know when the payments are supposed to come, and you make sure there's those monies are accounted for at all the time. So that's the second revenue stream, right? I spoke about gigs, I spoke about
your contracts,
royalties. And then there's more money, by the way, in music.
Hey, but there's sometimes when I've been reminded of things I agreed to, and then I must explain. I'm like, good to know, but remember they said, and I'm like, damn, it was fine back then. It was okay because there was no money on the table.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like
Before the money.
But they're gonna take this much. They're gonna take it. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's
true.
fine.
Don't worry about
we
it.
don't give a we don't give a fuck, man. It's fine. Do it. And then my verse and find shit.
You agreed to it.
Right?
You signed, bro.
In the words of Java.
what
In
does
the
that
words of Java. Write it out, bro. If you realize you signed a shitty contract, write it out. You're gonna have more problems trying to fight it while you're in it, you know.
Be creative, find a way to
Yeah,
get out
just
of it.
write it out, work, you know, because even now as a label, if you're signed to me, and then you try and like swindle and I'm gonna take you to the cleaners, I'm gonna fight you, I'm gonna make it hurt. So rather, you know, if you pick up, but I go to damn, hey, they obviously young shy. Okay, I know fair. Let's write it out. The contract with it. Now and sometimes when you pay more to you pay every month. It's been 3 years now. Now you're over the excitement of this whip. Now say a Kenya man, just say I should fuck. I'm paying as much as this motherfucker wouldn't. Fuck. Let me write it out. Write it out, dog. Write it out until it's. Yeah, I think as artists as well, sometimes we have to actually just go back to that theory, you know. I know we always want to fight, and sometimes the label will always hit you with what you signed for, because that's what they always have against you. It's like, this is what you agreed to, right? And let's be honest about it. It's not. There's you as an artist are not helping the label get bigger. Like, I'm not helping Warner. Warner's not helping me. We're here to make money. Sure. They want to make money off of my songs. I want to make money off of the money they have. Sure. You know, I want to take the money they have, go make more money. And when I make more money, they want to take all that money that I'm making from all the sales and put it back into their funds and make a profit. That's the reality of it, right? I can't be mad at them because they put a contract that makes more money out of me, that makes money out of me. That's the contract. They put a contract there to make money out of me. I should have been smart enough to say, but how am I going to make money out of you? You know? Because sometimes you could be fighting over something that really you weren't interested in the first place. So, keep match. You never wanted to do merch, but they put out Sizo a la kind merch. No. Let's talk about percentage for this merch. I said, no, chief.
The contract says.
You know, your contract says you don't care about merch. Sure. Right? If you care about merch, you know? But the personalities and characteristic aspect of it is where I talk about it when I say, you know, sometimes our personalities and characteristics, or love, like Smooth's saying, that thing has to now creep back in and override the contract and say, look, I'm not supposed to be nice to you, but I'm going to be nice to you, you know, only because I think you're in a bad place. You know, I literally had this argument with Nota. Nota's fighting with my label publicly. You know, so now he's calling. Yeah, he's fighting with my label publicly. He's
fighting
the entire label.
He's fighting the label now.
There's artists underneath.
Nota was just here last week and he said it's going to be presidential. No more fights. Nota, why are you fighting, bro?
He's fighting with that.
I'm on the phone.
I'm an artist.
I'm on the
Who's
phone.
fighting? Who is he fighting?
Over your conversation, actually, he's saying no.
He's fighting Warner.
Why is she fighting with him? She's supposed to fight with that label. That label is the one that's responsible for her now. You know? So now I'm on a conversation.
By the way, my Twitter's been hacked. I don't know what's going on.
Open a fake account, man. Jabu. Just be Jabu Smelani and be alright.
No, I want my account back.
So now I'm on the call with him and I'm like, dog, first, like, so he's trying to make me aware. This is not about you. You're
probably a victim.
This is not about you. No. He's saying to me, you should be grateful. I'm starting this fight because
you want to appreciate
now, after me setting a fire up their ass, they're gonna be, you know, they're gonna make you squeaky clean. They're gonna work behind you, whatever, right? But within this conversation, you know, something came up in the conversation because he's had a history of being in a label. Right, and he's had his fair share of fights over who did what, who deserves what, and what happens, you know. And he mentioned something where he was saying, it's funny, he was actually shouting him out. He was saying, you know, if you knew the things that I know, you would realize that actually Sbu is in a good position to actually cause havoc for a lot of people that he just chose to not, right? And then I said, well, what do you mean? He says, well, the bottom line is he's chosen to react a certain way because he's seeing the situation of the people that do come for him sometimes. And he's chosen to turn the other cheek, right? And he doesn't go into detail even then because, so that was his thing. He's like, I know what's going on. I know everything, right? And his argument was, he believes that in a lot of the breakups that we've had, at some point we should have said, okay, let's put this contract aside. What's wrong? Sure. No, angna bafethu. Okay,
Sure.
sharp. Wangasho.
Okay.
You understand?
We hear you.
Unga ras, ungangene phone in manje sotshela abantu ukuthi ya usibani bani thatha imali yami, ubani bani wenzeni. No, mfethu. Rather ubafonela labantu uthi ma chance nyazi sigurile nyazi sizwane mara yazini nginenkinga eyi-1 yabo. Okay, maybe you know itransi or idladla ingosi iskela, you know? Why don't you do that, right? And I believe that because I know that even if I've gone through all the shit that I went through with Atumi and Bradley and all the fights that we've had and all the issues that we've had, and luckily we never went public. Ricky never even went public with his situations as well that he had with Motif. But I know I can call Stogie right now and say, dog, it's bad. It's shaking, you know? But the last thing I want to do is call Stogie and say, yeah, but my money for do it like I can. Yeah, and I also, and then money for pump the cheese up. I was the one who was in studio doing. No, dog. Sometimes we have to look at a situation for what it is. Pick up the phone, dog. What's the problem? There's a deeper problem, dog, because you only remember imalaba kolotayo na maungenayo. You know what I'm saying? You only remember ipande abakutshontsela lona nawo mavukiseni ungenalo. You know what I'm saying? So at some point, yo, I know it's hard and I know it's difficult, but we are in that world where sometimes you kind of have to go back to that contract and say, dog, I should be this guy to you, you know? But I'm not going to be this guy to you. Let's just stop this. I was having conversations with Focalistic where he was talking about people he was fighting with that he came up with, you know? That guy is Nelson Mandela. He's fighting with you in private. He's fighting with people in private. Focus fighting with people in private, quietly, to say, dog, why are you coming for me like this? What's going on? What's the issue? You know, oh, that's the issue. Okay, let's just get to it and then let's just move on. You get what I'm saying?
I want to say these last two things from my side just regarding this. The first one is particularly for the people that are going to be learning from this platform. We can't keep discussing the same things. You are a gent, you're making music. People that are working in normal companies, you're hearing that the issue is contracts, lawyers. Go to your normal employment contract and just go and read it. Go and read, because that's the lesson here.
Sometimes and then
yes, that's fine. But I'm saying that's the lesson. So that at some point you must be like, but guys, we've been hearing this lesson. It can't be that every new soccer player ends up broke. It can't be. When there are so many Grootmans that have shown us that it can't be. There's something wrong there. We need to begin appreciating our craft. It's nice to be talented and creative and whatever, but understand that as soon as money is on the table or a contract, it becomes business and transactional. So learn the business that you're in. Understand it. Even the company, if you're working for a big company, or 30,000, do you know how much your company is making? Do you know what your value add in the company is? Do you know if you're even underpaid or overpaid? You go to interviews and you ask for market related, but you don't even know what that means. So let's start educating ourselves in those things. And again, going back to contracts, because cities into Zabelung with these things. Sis Desiree, Mount Desiree Thomas at Homegrown, when we were recording there, when we had the event there, said something very important. We don't have to like each other to work with each other. And that lesson is the separation of professionalism, contract understanding, and then we need to at some point we need to mature out of I don't have money, I'm broke. What was written on paper? Maybe I didn't know, maybe I was ignorant, I understand. I'll take that. I still like you, I don't like you. Oh, I really don't, I've never liked you. But we've got a professional working relationship. Because it's sebenza with darkies that we don't like. But we work and we make it work. So why can't we do the same here where it's art or where it's sport or where it's something else? We just need to learn to become more professional.
Do you think being an artist requires tertiary education? Do Do you think there should be a tertiary? Because to be a doctor, there's tertiary education.
I think there needs to
Do
be
you
an
think,
education.
do you think
An
there should be a
education.
tertiary
There
education
needs to be an
system that allows you,
education.
like Uti, as an artist, you can't release an album until you've gone through this 12-week program
Sure.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
of the
12-week
music
program.
industry.
Yeah.
Sure.
Maybe like a master class, even if
Yes.
it's just for 6 months.
Yes.
Like you're not allowed to
Abantu
sign this
bamusic
contract.
industry abahlali 12 months iphaya.
I never.
Futhi bazobhanga.
Well, you're Melissa is
Bazobhanga.
TikTok.
Maybe 6 months. Yeah, 6
Futhi
months.
bazobhanga.
Good idea, bro. Eh?
Do you think we
Brilliant
should,
idea.
no?
Definitely, yeah.
Because I've always cried, Guti, this is the one industry that does not have tertiary education. We literally find you're like, I saw Toss dancing on Twitter. And the following day, he had the biggest song in the country, and he's the biggest artist, you know? I don't know his history, I don't know how long he's been around, or whatever. But let's just say, for argument's sake, he didn't know anything about music until that song blew up. Or let me take Too Short, because he's a kid, right? Let me say that kid. Are we saying that kid should not be allowed to even think of releasing or dropping a song until he's gone through some sort of education system that advises him on being an artist? Or
The basics.
teaches him.
The basics.
But unfortunately, being an artist, you can't wait until matric. You know, like
Yeah.
you can be an artist from your bedroom.
Yeah.
You can already start making
Yeah.
music, releasing music. So when are we gonna know when to come and educate you? So it boils down to the actual individual. To want to
I'd
make
do it
good
as
music.
I'd do
Which
it
is
as a
the
label
problem.
to protect myself. If I was a label, I'd do it as a protection plan for myself to say, before I sign you, can I please take you to school, even if it's before.
So those
Even
are the
if it's
lessons
before
now. I know
high school.
EPSL, I think, is doing that with Obab Khoza.
Oh, is
They're
it?
starting to roll out financial education
Oh,
classes
lovely.
for soccer
Yeah,
players.
dog. I think maybe
Lovely.
that's the best way. Dog, before I sign you, I'm gonna take you there. Bayokufundisa yonke into, because when I slap you with this thing, and your
You
lawyer
can't come back.
Yeah, because the lawyers, dog, we were there with our lawyers reading the contracts together. And I remember looking at my Sony contract. He told me everything. I read it with him. Even showed me the red flags. Asked me, "Are you comfortable with this?" I said, "I'm comfortable." I'm fine until there was money on the table, or there was no money on the table, right? Then you remember, oh yeah, I agreed to that. Ish, okay, never mind. Yeah, we keep it moving, right?
But you did that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things I've agreed to.
Yeah, but
that
I'm
have-
saying you sat with a lawyer.
yeah,
and
yeah,
you guys
yeah.
went through.
Yeah, I mean, my theory is we can all read contracts, but only lawyers can understand them. You know, only a lawyer can say what thereof there within we envisaged, and
Envisaged.
dog. I'm like, yo, why can't you just say I'm gonna give you 200,000, you gonna pay me back 300? You know,
Sure.
Herewith the company provides. Dog. I've read a lot of those
Roman
contracts.
Dutch law.
Oh my
Is it-
gosh! But on the other side, let's not. Another thing, as an artist, I have to represent my artist on this one. Don't start a label, man. If you can't take
you don't
care of
have
other
the
people,
skill.
don't take on other people's talents if you can't take care of them. I think that's another thing that I've always been shy about. To Guti Dog, how do I guarantee you, Guti Dog, I'm gonna take Upenyal and make him a star?
There's no guarantee.
There's no guarantee, dog. Mina
Yeah.
sengiyamthatha umntana abantu because nami ngibona opportunity ukuthi ngiyenze imali, naye ibona opportunity ukuthi ayizenzele imali, and then ngiyamthatha, and then I just hug him. You know, I just show him every week. Good, yeah, I put out a tweet. You know, I posted your video. I sent your song to radio. I did this. Like, that's a huge responsibility, bro. Don't do it unless you really, really gonna do it and you wanna do it. You know, there's a lot of artists, especially, who've tried to do it. You know, and they failed. Actually, a lot of the times, the artists that fail to make other artists superstars, because like
They don't have the skill.
you don't have the skill. So now ungazifaki, Joe. Don't try and be the guy that just sees an opportunity. Like, if I'm looking at, again, I like bringing up Too Short. He's my favorite artist right now. I can't take lentwana le namfethu ngifuna ukuyisayina sengifuna ukuyisayina nje just because ngiyabona ukuthi lentwana le izoyenza amasimbi izoba intswembu awuthi ngimthathe, and then I don't have the plan, you know,
the ability.
I only know how to make myself a star.
Sure.
But I've never really made anybody else a star, and I don't have the lessons or the systems or the governance to make that kid a star. Singamlanda nam. Against a star. Whereas you could have just taken that guy and taken him to the right people. Sure. Maybe that's what you need to do to help
that was
kid.
your purpose.
Yeah,
That
take
was your
that
purpose.
kid. Yes,
You
take
could have
him
been
to
a
the right
Clark
people.
Kent. DJ Clark Kent.
Oh yes, exactly. You know, he was the guy that was facilitating the relationship between the star and the one who wants to make people stars.
Yeah.
I don't have to be a part of that journey. I don't have to be the one that made that journey happen. You know, but at least that's your contribution to that person. You know, there's a level of greed. I've seen a lot of my friends as well as my peers. It's like, oh, you got a label now? Oh, you got artists. You're doing this because you care about them, or you know what I mean? Like, dog, you're not ready. You know,
Go upskill yourself. Learn how to run a business at the very least before you get employees or talent.
Have a passion for that thing. Have a passion and a care for it, because I guess Kaizer Chiefs has a passion for soccer. You know, they're an organization that has been around for so long, a family business, right? Isn't that the longest run family business in Africa? 50 years?
Probably, no?
Yeah,
Jeez.
apparently they're the
I'm not
longest
sure.
run
Highly
family
possible.
business
Kaizer
in
Chiefs.
Africa. Yes.
Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates, highly possible.
Yeah,
Passion
I wanted
for
to mention
soccer.
Orlando Pirates.
Because
Yeah.
Orlando Pirates older than Kaizer Chiefs.
It is older. Yeah.
Oh, but I think it's the family business trigger that
No,
this
I
goes.
heard
Yeah,
exactly
I
what
think
you're
I
saying.
think that's their claim. But at the end of the day,
Oldest
yeah,
family
Pirates, I'm convinced they have a passion for soccer, dog. They've been in it for so long. Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about other companies that have started soccer teams and then they just fade away, or you think just giving soccer players money is what soccer players need. It's real shit like what we're talking about. Like, if you care about soccer, you're going to educate those guys, dog. You're going to protect them from themselves before they even come to you. You know you've seen all your soccer players come, get your money, go out there and lose it and finish it. Why not create a system to help them, you know? So some guys will start labels just because I have against Mali. But dog, you're dealing with people's lives, people's talents, you know, people's beliefs. It's sad when somebody comes up and you hear this guy, oh, this guy is on the biggest song in the country right now, but he's telling you he made the least. It's like, oh, shit. Bro, I don't know.
No, thank you.
But Spoo, thank you
need
very
to
much for showing me.
upskill
I'll
ourselves.
never have a label because of you guys.
You traumatizing people from a distance.
Do you know what I used to always say? Njengoba bengisipana kuma radio station my entire career, I always say that to either station managers or program managers, guys who have to lead the talent.
Yeah.
Because there's egos there.
You.
And even besides you as the leader or their leader, there's egos amongst themselves.
Of course.
You know? Imagine if you have to be Oscar. Like, imagine the big DJs in the country.
Sure.
5 of them are under your station. And we posela abantu more than wena.
We posega DJ Spoo, we posega Tibo Touch, we posega DJ Fresh. I can't imagine.
It's like that running a record label. It
Yeah.
gets to a point where your artists are stars.
Of course.
Sometimes abalali.
Of course.
They do their thing.
Now you have to remove yourself as well. Yeah, and then I'm
Sometimes you do deals. You do deals on their behalf.
I'm hot right now, bitch.
Yeah, I'm out.
Peace. I'm gonna be bigger than you.
I got 4 by the banking account. I don't feel like doing gigs this weekend. But I didn't tell my company at least last week. My company has already taken probably 3 gigs.
Sure.
And then I just decide to switch off my phone.
And then and the answer is always just send the money back. Not knowing good to send the money back is cool and all, but you forgot about those 5,000 people that woke up that day and decided, yo, sifuna ukubona le outside le.
And everyone else involved that needs to be paid because it's a system and it's a business. Never mind the fans. There's people that are at the event. There are people in the company. There's so many other stakeholders. If Beyonce is not performing, it's not just her.
I'm a fans the most, Mfana. I think a lot of the times, and I know it because I deal with it a lot. There's people around me that miss gigs all the time, miss performances, miss interviews like this. You know, like I was supposed to be here yesterday. I wasn't here yesterday, but maybe not take the courtesy of calling and say, dog, hey, hard, Mfana, you got a flop, jive, because you got 4 million in your account. You're just thinking, fuck, I'll be all right. It's just, you know, it's whatever, right? But you're just missing the subscribers that are watching this thing for you. You know, the people that are at the shows for you. Like, I can always pay back the promoter. Yeah. Let's say I owe the promoter is 50K and I pay back his 50K. That's cool. But like, there's someone who got out of their house on that day
They could have caught
to
2
come
buses.
and watch you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 buses to come and see because you are their life.
Those people, their spirit just keeps dying and their faith in you just keeps dying little by little with every interview you miss or every show that you miss. You know, not forgetting the industry, you're getting blackballed on the other side.
Yeah, in the sense, yeah. Lawyer siyamazi ngeke. Lawyer ufika nukushwala. Lawyer ufika late.
Yeah,
loyal.
They
You know what
lose
I mean?
faith in you. These are all people that you need on both ends. Like the people that buy your music and the people that help you sell your music. Like you keep disappointing them, right?
Why do you have bands like Mafigazolo still gigging every weekend today? Why? They take their stage performances seriously, their costumes, image seriously. They're always on time. They're doing interviews. They're humble. They understand what they have to do. Their phones are always on. They're professional with their grind.
Professional.
They've built so many relationships in the industry that even if they don't have a hit record, they'll always get booked
still there.
because they are reliable. If I'm gonna put down a show, I know for a fact Mafigazolo will be there
So important.
on time. You know what I mean?
So important.
They're not gonna let me down.
Dog.
You have to choose the hottest kid or the people that have been consistent over decades.
Whom I know they'll be there even early.
You like, they're going to be early, they're going to be professional, they're going to deliver exactly.
Still rock the crowd.
Yes.
What do? So those
It's a
are
business decision. It's a
so-
very clear
Yeah,
decision.
Daniel, these are
When
some of the
Upi
things-
is Ushabo, I'll pay them back.
Zenzakala behind the scenes lento lezi. Abantu abazazi.
Abazaz.
That's why, for instance, sometimes you get a promoter say, man, you're just there for 15 minutes.
Sure.
You don't have to be there for an hour.
Sure.
Dog, behind the scenes, you can say that, but when I'm in public,
Sure.
people are expecting to see me for an hour. You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna share 2 tracks.
You know what I mean?
We share 2 tracks. Someone was
Crowd, you can't- I came here
We
for
share
2
2
tracks.
tracks.
Sure, who's trying
Yeah.
And never to join it's no longer about the promoter. It's you, the bad guy.
You're the problem.
It's true.
Kabashisa lapana, the insurance issues. Sabat I think stadium banyanyile.
Sebakwatini.
Because you decided as an artist now to keep on lying and not answering the phone or lying to the promoter. I know we are 30 minutes away. Was gahle khanu suwe Joes.
Where do entertainers go to upskill themselves and to speak to each other about where they fall short?
Good question.
Usizo's here telling his guys, don't open labels. Guys, be
He
professional.
didn't say don't open labels. He said he himself.
Sorry.
I'm
You
scared.
were saying don't take on the responsibility of kids if you don't have the skill.
Or
Sorry,
the
just
passion,
to clarify.
yeah, the skill or the passion too, yeah.
So I'm saying, where do kids go? Is there even a platform?
That's a very good question. I
Because
think-
now people are here on the virtual Mkuku and they're learning.
Yeah.
And there's celebrities that are watching us.
Yeah.
And they like, oh shit, I'd never thought. And it's like, so you guys really don't have a place
and
to
that's why-
learn this etiquette and dealing with promoters and that people are going to expect this and this is how you deal with fans. And when a kid comes and says, look, Shai's Tom, sees where this is how you behave, even if you're in a rush, this is what you. Just those nuances that turn you into a professional
That's
star.
it. There
It's
isn't.
exactly what you were talking about, that 6 month course.
Yeah, there isn't.
All these little things. And these little things, you can only learn them from people who've walked the path. It's like being coached by a coach who was a soccer player.
Yeah. But there are no platforms
Even
where
some
the
of
old guys are coming to teach.
actually some of the good habits I've learned from conversations with people who
Yeah.
have them, and some of the bad habits is from conversations. But there's no formalized like
It's a huge
Yeah.
gap in the
where
market.
you can go. It's a very huge gap in the market. It's a very, very crucial gap in the market. The more we talk about it now, right? Especially because there's so many people that become stars into the market. With the internet, every second person can be a superstar tomorrow. You know, Uncle Vinny's opened up the gate for a million other Uncle Vinny's out there. You know, Guti, you don't have to show me a CV to be a superstar. You know, you can literally just jump out of high school and just be the hottest kid in the scene. Now you're reading scripts. Now you're promoting. Now you're running around with politicians trying to convince the youth to vote for your political party. You understand?
Sure.
No,
Sure.
you know, now you're earning high salaries. You know, so that kid still has to face the tax man. Don't get it twisted. Nobody taught us about the tax man. Nobody taught us about financial planning. Nobody taught us. I mean, things that people like throwing around.
Nobody even told us about music.
Nobody
Yeah.
even, you know, or no one even prepares you for that time when you're not hot.
Yeah,
You do
nobody,
not-
that's an important one.
Yeah, no one prepares you for that time when you're not hot and you're not cool.
That's important. How do you deal with it psychologically? Because it's not easy for a lot of people, especially for those whom, as you get older, you probably don't have.
I don't know.
Maybe you didn't have a good financial plan.
Sure, you don't have other things in your life. This was your whole life.
Yeah,
Now
because I've
you've got
seen a lot
nothing.
of OGs end up becoming bitter, who speak bad about the younger
Yeah.
generation, and the younger generation are killing it, they make money.
Sure.
And then maybe I was listening, I don't know if it's beef or whatever it is, or it's jealousy or it's bitterness from Method Man. He was
Sure.
on one of the podcasts I watched it during the weekend. He was talking about, where are he getting this money? They can't be flying private, flying at the back of my mind. I'm like, I'll understand. You say,
Sure. Sure.
streaming.
Sure.
It's for only 20K
Sure.
US dollars. Yeah, no such thing from back. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to. You don't want to end up becoming those types of OGs who's bitter.
Always
And
bitter.
you know what
Guys
I mean?
are not making real
Because you
music.
didn't-
What?
You didn't make the right decision, your own career.
Yeah,
And
facts.
because of sick grand, it's only quite
Facts.
it's like sometimes we watch like soccer legends
Yes.
who speak bad about the current generation.
Sure.
And you can tell when somebody speaks from a caring place.
Sure.
But no, man, in Twana is the grand. There
Sure.
are other ways too, but there's others whom you can
Just bitter.
The Grootman pizza.
And speak about Amakrotman, I guess the question to both of you is the elder generation doing enough to avail themselves for mentorship for young up-and-coming stars? And I've spoken about this before on Virtual Mkukuti. What you're doing to me is unique. Because all the guys that have been in an industry, they don't openly find kids, see a little bit of talent and say, look, I'll help you. I want to teach you. I want you to... That's what's allowed Snoop Dogg to last for so long. He's tried to be relevant and he's always willing to work with a younger artist. And he doesn't have the ego. You're hot. I'm Snoop. I'm an OG. It's fine. But you're hot. You're the star. Our elders doing enough to actually be like, I see your... Is it a problem of the youth or young people not listening to elders? Or are elders also not actually available?
There
to
are
educate?
elders who are available. I mean, we were talking about Ricky just recently.
Sure.
About how you reached out to everybody in the industry.
So Angeti becomes a unique guy because everyone speaks about him.
Yeah. And he was just telling you about Abu Too Short, Abu
Sure.
Banban, I mean, there's a lot of OGs reach out, eh? I
Okay.
also reach out to a lot of cats. I DM. Sometimes younger cats have got an ego. Maybe he's popping at the time.
Yeah.
He's like, "Ay, le grootman alingi elingi." Or sometimes, you
Sure.
know, nenyukunyani into anibona sengathi ayisikhathele usadlula nisiyekeleni nathi, you know.
So-
But
so-
as a grootman, somebody who cares, somebody
Yeah.
who understands, ukuthi ngoba uhambile le ndlela, it's your responsibility to never let that make you feel bad. You continue to reach out.
Yeah.
Whether bayalalela, whether balaleli, but play your role on being that sort of guidance or mentor, you know.
Each one teach one.
Yeah.
There's a responsibility once you've made it to at some point give back to a few kids and be like, at least Nami, I passed on. Because
Yeah.
Nami, I'm here because other people also...
And sometimes
invested
I
in
can't
me.
blame them too much. I really do think a lot of musicians banenhliziyo enhle. I've never seen an industry where so many people put other people on,
Yeah.
just like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, honestly, it's my spotlight.
Yeah.
It's my success.
Yes.
I didn't have to bring you along here. I didn't.
At
you know what
all.
I mean? I
At
didn't
all.
have to do that.
Yeah.
But if I continuously keep doing that over and over and over and over and over,
Yeah.
then I understand my calling. I understand my purpose. Ukuthi ngenza umsebenzi kaNkulunkulu.
Sure.
But not everybody should be doing that. So that's why I always big up artists. I mean, I look at Maporisa since I moved from Gudqoma. I think that was what 2017, 2018, or let me say 2016, 2017. Just in this 4-year or 5-year space, how many people has been able to put on?
It's insane.
What they do with being put on, it's
Yes,
up to them.
it's up to them.
But he's played his role to
Sure.
be like, okay, from the darkness,
Sure.
come to the light.
Sure.
What you do with this light, it's up to
It's
you.
up to you.
So big up to him.
Yeah.
And a whole lot of other musicians.
Attention point as well though is not giving credit. I think that's a big tension point when it comes to older and younger, right? For me to be able to say, no, usibu ngengam 70, wonke ay 70 stina, ngaba grand, ngaba right, wangvusa, you know. I was in the trenches, I was talented, but I needed money. This guy gave me money, right? Or usibu nayachi ukuthi, yo, I didn't have a sound, I didn't have a style, and then I met this kid, and this kid introduced me to a style, you know, and then I was cool again and I was on again. You know, with all those conversations that we have behind the scenes, there is a sense of, man, you never said thank you for what I did for you. You know, and for some people they're happy to not have that, but I think it only pops up as an argument to say, dog, I actually showed you how to do this, and you became the person that you are, or I helped you do this, and you became the person that you are, and you're not coming back to appreciate that little that I did for you, or that little bit of education that I did for you. Because some of these kids nazo ziyajika zithi emfethu le awuthi njengoba inamahithi so azange ngigaye imali yami yokugibela amateksi ukuthi ngiyeda, never paid me for this, never. You understand what I'm saying? So I think there is a lot of information sharing, but I think there's not a lot of information appreciation, you know, or helpers appreciation or assistance appreciation, you know, to say, dog, just don't act like I never helped you out. From the younger to the older, from the older to the younger, because I think we help each other so much. You know what I mean? You work with a lot of young people that show you how to do a lot of things that young people are doing. You understand?
So what I'm learning from this guy.
Yes, you have to, and so now it would be an issue now if after 5 years he looks at everything that he spoke to you about, that he advised you to do, that you execute, and then he's just sitting there like, dog, why aren't you saying?
Sure.
Yeah, I was with Peño. You know what I mean? It's like,
Just credit and say thanks.
yeah, it's like Kanye West always giving credit to that guy for the documentary, right? He's always like, yo, this guy is doing it. It's not me. This guy just Cody is Cody. Yeah, Cody's Cody. Cody's doing what Cody does. He's capturing my story. You get me? Into our industry and in our world.
Peeking into our industry behind the scenes when Zagala.
Yeah, and also the personality that we're dealing with. We're always exposed to that guy being here.
Yes.
He's always like, you know what I'm saying? But you actually see him not being amazing, and you see him overcome not being amazing, and you realize why he always pumps himself up as being amazing, right? Because of the things that he went through. But I'm just saying, the camera guy was appreciated for that moment.
And he
He's
got
not.
himself 15 bar.
You understand?
US.
Is it?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's 200
Cody.
million rands. Yeah,
Oh,
That's
snap.
out of
For
that
genius.
country. He's set now.
Solid.
Yeah, he's set.
That's
and
solid.
how dope is that?
And
though?
how
That's
long
amazing.
did it take? Though?
Joe.
How long did it
Imagine
take?
if he
Yeah.
had
That was
gone-
a planted
imagine-
seed from
imagine
how
if he had
many years
gone
ago?
out and just blasted all sorts of negative info about Kanye for all these. He wouldn't have made that.
He wouldn't have
15
made
bar
fuck all.
eventually from Kanye.
You wouldn't make it fuck
I mean, I
all.
heard even Kanye. I think he hit up Beanie Siegel.
Sure.
Because apparently, Kanye got the nickname Yeezy from Beanie Siegel.
Okay.
And he was like, "Yo, Beans, I got a check for you."
Jeez, come on.
Because you gave me
He
easy.
the nickname. Yeah.
Jeez.
I was like, "Wow." how many
That's
people
the
do that?
appreciation
That's the
that we're
appreciation.
talking about.
You know, it's just appreciate what I did for you, and you appreciate what you did for me. And that's it.
Nekunganyo Caesar Tap.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Ngiyabonga mfethu uStandard. This was. He has to come back.
He's gonna
Can
come
you see
back.
there's so many
No,
things?
I think I want to start this
leaving
school.
it.
I think
We're not
me and Peño have to start this school of education now.
We have not even
From a
spoken to him.
non-industry person to an industry person, we can educate artists
Joe.
and actors about a few things.
We have to do this one like and actually do a master, not just a master class, just for 1 hour.
Yeah.
We have to do something though. We have to do something, and it's our responsibility.
and it has to be based on fails.
Yeah.
All the things that have gone wrong, like how do we keep them from happening again? Because you're right, dog. Like what we're talking about right now is fundamentally based on, hey, what went wrong? And then now we think about it. We says, well, because nobody spoke about how to do it right. You know, so I don't know. I'm inside. I mean, I'm feeling 30%. Before CENs, I'm discussing percentage before CENs. Yeah, before CENs, I'm telling 30, 10. Uyavuma bafo. Ah, okay. 33.3. Ngukai chance. Ah, sikuvalela ngaphandle. Yeah. No.
Non-profit. Jay-Z doesn't run a non-profit.
What? No.
Not dope, man. Thank you, Caesar. We have not even touched on your life. I think it's an opportunity for him to come back.
He has to come. I was
So-
actually disturbed because we actually started speaking about. I'm like, but people want to know Tukule va, Ebeskeleza va.
No. I think that chat is done, guys. I think
No.
What we're doing
Yo.
here is actually what needs to happen. Because what we're talking about here is the future.
I screwed it to them.
Jeez.
We'll see you guys on the next video. Don't forget to go subscribe on Virtual Mkuku. Ne? Go subscribe on Virtual Mkuku. Go subscribe on Peñol's YouTube page. Peñol's YouTube is Peñol. Ne?
Penuel the Black Pen.
Peñol the Black Pen. Go subscribe to his page. Is it to his page or on his page?
So subscribe
Subscribe to.
to his page.
That's the call.
I think it's subscribe to his page.
Okay, go subscribe to his channel.
Yeah.
Which is
English
Peñol
bundles are
the
running
Black
out.
Pen, and go subscribe on Virtual Mkuku. And you can go subscribe to my page as well, my channel. DJ Smooth. I'll see you guys on the next video. Sharp.
This is the Hustler's Corner.